Today on Brainpower, we're creating multiple choice questions with ChatGPT. Let's jump in. Hello, friends. It's Josh. Welcome to Brainpower, your weekly AI training show, where today we are going to create multiple choice questions with ChatGPT. Now, if you are new here, I highly recommend you going to my website and grabbing this week's download file. So just head over to this URL, and what you'll do is scroll down and you'll see all the episodes, and we are on episode 11. So you'll just click the download file button. This is going to give you a PDF, and that PDF is going to look something like this. All right. So again, check that URL, grab the PDF, and you can work right along with me. Okay, very good. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into our topic, multiple choice questions with ChatGPT. All right, so now, the first key concept here is you got to know your craft, right? So you could go into ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude and just ask it to create multiple choice questions on whatever topic as a zero-shot prompt. And you'll get some results back, but we really don't have time to go in and make corrections or leverage multiple choice questions with an incorrect format, right? So what we want to do, again, is to leverage our craft and get a better understanding of how to put multiple choice questions together. What is the process and what is the optimal format when it comes to challenging or testing someone on their knowledge? So I have a list of attributes or things that you should do to create really good multiple choice questions. Now, these are also on the download file. So if you have already downloaded that file, we can just zoom in here and let's just take a moment and you can see all of the things that you should put in the multiple choice question, right? But what I'm going to do is go back over to the deck here real quick and just knock these out. So the first thing is you got to start with a really good learning objective. And a well-written learning objective is going to be the catalyst for our multiple choice question. And that's how we're going to start here today. We are actually going to go ahead and use a zero-shot prompt, which is just a simple prompt with no examples, to go in and create learning objectives for us. Then we'll go in and take one of those learning objectives and create 10 well-formed multiple choice questions. All right, so what else are we looking for in a multiple choice question? Got to clearly define the question, and the origin point of that is from a well-constructed learning objective. Now, within the question itself, you want to go in and provide plausible distractors. They need to be real world, right? We don't want to, have a massive contrast with the correct answer and then your distractors. You want to keep the answers parallel and structure. It should be the same length. And typically what happens is your correct answer is going to be the longest answer, and then your distractors, right, are the shorter answers typically. But we don't want to do that. We want to keep them all the same length. Don't make the answer C every single time. Change it up. All right, so we're going to randomize the order. Keep the answers independent. You want to limit the number of choices. We're only going to use 3 here today, which is optimal. 2 distractors, 1 correct answer, and always proofread your questions. Now, talking about craft, I do have one recommendation for you. So if you really want to go in deep on multiple choice questions, I recommend this book from Dr. Patty Shank, Write better multiple choice questions to assess learning. Sounds like a great title to me. And there's just awesome information and content in this book. I'll put it down in the show notes below if you're watching this on YouTube. So check out that in the comments. All right, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into creating these multiple choice questions. So let's go down to page 2 in the handout. We first want to start with a learning objective. And so we are going to use what's called a zero-shot prompt. A zero-shot prompt, there's no examples in there, but there are still a few nuances within this prompt that's going to guide us towards a decent learning objective. One is act like an instructional designer. Remember, that's designating a role. And then we want to go ahead and create concise learning objectives. Okay, so that's the task. And then in regards to the task format, ensure each learning objective is in the SMART format, which is going to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. At least that's the format that I'm using here today. Now, within your prompt, you're going to want to go in and update your course topic. It can be anything that you want. It could be work-related. It could be a hobby. Make it fun. And then the target audience. Who are you focusing in on? Okay. Now, once we have the learning objective, then we're going to leverage that learning objective into the multiple choice prompt. We'll also be using a technique called prompt chaining, where we'll go in and leverage this prompt right here. We'll do that first, get our learning objectives, and then in the same conversation, in the same window, we are going to do multiple choice questions. We'll do that prompt. Then we'll take a learning objective, and all the way down at the bottom of this prompt, we put our learning objective in there, right? So this is the reason why we want to prompt chain and keep everything together. So let's get after it. We're going to go ahead and take that first prompt. Let's go ahead and copy. We'll take it over to ChatGPT. So let's jump in there. All right, so let's bring up ChatGPT. Bear with me one second while I bring it up. And let's make a new chat. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and place that in there. And now we need to go in and put our course topic. So how do I cook a smoked salad? And we'll just, that's typically what I put in there, but we want to say cook a smoked potato salad. Make sure it's spelled correctly. And the target audience is going to be new cooks. Now go ahead and put whatever you want in there in regards to the topic and the audience. Ensure each learning objective uses the SMART format. Again, if you have a different format that you like to use for your learning objectives, please place it in there. All right, so let's go ahead and run this. And you know what, I always love to do this live because this really illustrates, because sometimes it may not be the optimal format for a learning objective, and you may have to tweak the prompt or rerun the prompt again to get more of what you're looking for. But when I go in and I take a look at these learning objectives here, let's say understanding key ingredients as a learning objective. By the end of the first week, learners will be able to list all the ingredients required for a smoked potato salad, including specific types of potatoes, herbs, and dressings, as verified through a short quiz. All right, so that we can see that how they're going to be tested on that information. All right. So these will work. Again, I could make some adjustments here, but for brevity and getting right to our multiple choice questions, we're just going to go ahead and pick one of these learning objectives and keep rolling. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that first learning objective right here. Understand key ingredients. Now, the great thing about prompt chaining is that because we're within the same context window, when we add the multiple choice question prompt, I can go in and just reference learning objective number 1. I don't have to be detailed about it. I can just go in and say learning objective 1 or learning objective number 3. 4 or 5, whatever you have. And that's it. Now, the other thing I want to point out to you is I go down and just say, hey, can you go ahead and write 10 multiple choice questions on number 1? Yeah, you could do that. That's fine. But this is a 0-shot prompt. Now, what's happening here is when I go ahead and I can run this, I'll run it. There is no format to these multiple choice questions. I don't have any kind of details in here in regards to the format, the question stem, how many distractors, the length of the answers so that they're all the same length, right? There's nothing like that. And so at first glance, hey, this looks great. I'll probably get an answer key at the bottom here. I don't even get an answer key. It doesn't even say what the correct answer is. So you end up doing a whole bunch of work. Well, we want to be more specific. Not only that, but we do want to go in and leverage all of those, properties that I talked about earlier. Could clearly define the question, provide plausible distractors, and so on. What's really cool is that I could just go ahead and copy all of this and place it in the prompt. Now, I'm not going to do that right away. I'm going to go ahead and use the prompt that's down here in the worksheet. But it's entirely possible to do that. Well, let's go ahead and let's grab our multiple choice question prompt and copy it and get it into the clipboard. Now, before we paste it, I do want to describe the structure and the format that's being used here. Typically, I will use what's called a Tracy prompt, and the Tracy prompt has task rules, role, sometimes there's role rules in there, create, right, where it's going to go ahead and create those 10 multiple choice questions based on the learning objective, and create rules. What's missing? Audience. Okay, there's no A in here, nor I, intent. So you can use aspects of the Tracy prompt to do, down and dirty work like this in ChatGPT. I don't have to, be so nuanced to get, really good multiple choice questions back. Well, again, let's give it a go here. So I'm going to go back over to ChatGPT, and I'm going to modify this 0-shot prompt that, again, was pretty lackluster. Not really getting the job done for us. And I'm just going to click on the pencil, which is going to allow me to edit that prompt, and I will paste the new prompt in there. Now, before I run this prompt, remember, we have to go and reference the prior learning objectives that were created. So we'll go all the way down to the bottom, and I'll just say use learning objective number 1, or whatever learning objective that I want in there. Again, going back up to the top here, that's what it's referencing because we're prompt chaining. It's in the same window. All right, well, let's give it a shot. Now I'm going to go ahead and get my result here. Certainly, here's 10 multiple choice questions. So we have our question, we have our answers, we have the indication of the correct answer, and we have the explanation. All right, not too bad, right? And I'll just go ahead and scan this here. Now, depending upon how you're using your multiple choice questions or where you're placing them. So if you are using some type of quiz engine or learning experience platform where you need to go ahead and copy and paste your multiple choice questions into that environment, well, you're going to want to go in and obviously modify the format here. And that's where you'll go in and change your prompt. Now, I did ask for the correct answer. I did go in and ask for an explanation, but again, you can go in and make those modifications and really make it your own. You want to optimize the workflow so, you're not like doing double work when you need to get these multiple choice questions into some other type of format or platform. Now, what I'd like to attempt to do is go in and update the rules with the copy directly from the handout. That's right. We're going to go in and just take the text as it is and just copy it and paste it in there. And what's interesting about this is, you got to keep in mind that platforms or large language models like ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini are going to have extremely large content windows or context windows. You may have heard the term token, and tokens are a measurement of words that are sent actually to the large language model. And we typically have for each token is about 0.75 words. Well, Gemini, Ultra, Claude, they have extremely large token windows. Even ChatGPT has a decent sized token window where you can have hundreds of thousands of words in there. Well, if that's the case, then why don't I just take a whole body of text and put it in the prompt? Sure, you could do that. Also, keep in mind that if you do upload a document or reference a website, it's grabbing that copy or grabbing that text and putting it as part of the prompt. So if you have a large website or a large document, again, that's all going to be added into the prompt. All right, well, let's give it a go. So now I'm going to go back over to the worksheet, go up to the rules, and I'm just going to grab these rules right here. Let's just copy these. If I can actually get to the bottom and copy, there we go. All right, and I'm going to scroll to the top and copy our rules. We'll go back over to ChatGPT, go back up to our prompt right here, and let's edit that prompt by clicking on the pencil. All right, so now I'm editing the prompt, and where my rules are at, I'm just going to delete those rules and paste all these rules in here. Well, drum roll, please. Let's go ahead and give it a go and see what we get. Nice. So it's actually going in and giving me the learning objective. It's giving me the 3 answers, but I don't know what the correct answer is, and I have no explanation in here. Well, it looks like we forgot some details. And this is the process, right? You'll go in and you'll have all kinds of great instructions in here. And there are great instructions, but we don't have all the specific details in here. So what do we need? What do we need to add? Well, we need to indicate the correct answer. We need to go ahead and get an explanation at a minimum, and then we're off to the races. So it's just a minor modification to the prompt. You don't have to get crazy with it, right? So let's make that change. Let's make that modification. We'll run the prompt again. And hopefully, we will get multiple choice questions that are ready to rock. Okay, so let's go back up to the prompt. I'm going to hit the pencil one more time. And we want to go into the task rules. We're going to go down the list of task rules and simply add some space in here under number 8, proofread carefully. We'll just say number 9, we want to indicate the correct answer. And then number 10, we want to provide an explanation. All right, very good. So now, if I can spell this properly, there we go. Okay, so now we have our 2 updated rules right in here. And if you want to add more rules, you can. Let's hit save and submit. And let's see if we get the correct output. Okay, so we got our learning objective. And there we go. We have our correct answer and we have our explanation. Now, if I want the indication of the correct answer to be in line next to the correct answer itself, whether it be A, B, or C, I could also do that. It's interesting that the explanation or the correct answer is in the explanation they're italicized, right? Using Markdown. And, Jason, great observation. Yeah, tweaking the prompts can completely change the output, right? Even just small little modifications to the prompt, depending upon what you're working on, can have just a huge bearing on the quality of the results coming back. So, again, just keep after it. And you know what you do is after you go in and you have wonderful results, well, you're going to want to go ahead and take this prompt right here, and you want to put it into a prompt library, right? So if you haven't created a prompt library yet, you could use Notion, you could use Excel, you could use Google Sheets. Store that prompt so that you can go back and use it when you need to, right? And again, it's just a matter of starting with storing that prompt. But what's interesting is, I had a conversation with some people yesterday. Many people don't have a prompt library. So if you're just starting out and you need a prompt library, well, I got you covered. Here's a URL for you. Head over to this website, enter in your information, and you get access to my personal L&D prompt library. It's up to 250 now. At least I'm working towards it. And so you can take advantage of that. Highly recommend it. And the way that looks, or the way that shows up, is something like this. To where you can go in and scroll down, click on a prompt that you need, and it brings up the prompt and you can start working with it. So that's what a prompt library looks like. All right. So with that, I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me today on Brainpower. And I just take this down. Again, make sure that you go ahead and download the worksheet just so that you have that. And I can't wait for you to join me next week on another episode of Brainpower. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you again here shortly. Take care.